everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of FanFictionally. This week's episode is brought to you by my allergies. So, I apologize if I cough or sneeze or something during this week's episode, but it's finally cool here in Virginia. But my allergies are driving me nuts because fall, yay, weather change. Also this week I have a Coke. Or, well, really, it's Pepsi, but I'm from Texas originally, where every carbonated beverage is a Coke. So we can go ahead and get started. Grab a drink, have a seat, and we'll hop right into it. This week, we're going to talk about over-exaggerating character traits and pestering pestering authors in their comments sections, which we've kind of touched on stuff like that before, but we're gonna go a different direction with it this time. Of course, we're gonna do some Q&A and our normal little games for the week too. So which some were pretty interesting from last week. So our first question of the day is from WolfieTunes31X on Wattpad. And she actually it was in regards to my complaint about excessive exclamation mark usage last week. So she said, Luffy's a difficult character to write for. In the anime, he's almost always shouting. Would you say he's an exception to constant exclamation marks? So there's a difference between a character always being excitable and shouting and speaking loudly and just their energy and overusing the exclamation marks. For Luffy, that's fine. He really is always shouting. He is always excited. He does have calm moments, though, especially when he's angry or upset. You know, he always has that calm before the storm moment. But mostly what I was referring to when I was talking about that was just using it at the end of every sentence for any character ever. And the specific story I was talking about happened to be one for Boku no Hero Academia, and it was literally all the dialogue for all the characters and the reader just ended in exclamation marks all the time, and even the narrative parts were always ending in exclamation marks. So that's what I was meaning by that. Luffy definitely is a character that you would use them for a lot, just because he's pretty obnoxious. So I hope that answered that question or clarified a little bit what I meant when I was talking about that last week. The next question is from, is it Vinji-san on Wattpad? Asked, how do you find inspiration to write more? Honestly, I've been struggling what to start when I have an idea. So I actually have talked about that the last 2 episodes, being inspired and staying inspired or motivated. I would say if you have an idea, just go with it. Just start writing it down. I don't think that you particularly have to have a starting point. Maybe if that's what you're talking about, you don't have to do the whole, like, once upon a time there was a blah, 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 blah. I definitely have stories that start in the middle of a thought, I think, or in the middle of something already happening. So I think maybe you're putting too much on yourself for what your starting point should be, maybe. And you can always, get it started, and then if you don't like it, you can go back and edit it and change it if you haven't posted it yet, or even if you have posted it. I mean, people go back and edit their books all the time, so I don't think there's a problem with that. But like I said last week, finding inspiration really comes from things that I surround myself with. So music, art, Pinterest. Maybe if you're doing fan fiction, specifically going back and watching some episodes, reading someone else's work, being inspired by that, but not, copying it. Maybe something that's a part of their story inspires you to do a story that's completely different. It's just happens to be, a spark of a thought of something they wrote, if that makes any sense at all. um, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about inspiration that I haven't already said. So I'm going to be repeating myself, which I probably already have, but I hope that helps you. As far as starting points go, just do it, dude. Um, you'll figure it out. I believe in you. Um, the next question is Abyss Chronica's weekly question. And it's a good one, actually. She said, if you were to live in the One Piece world, who would you be and who would you be affiliated with? And I think for a lot of people, that's probably an easy question. But for me, it's not. I've actually not really thought about it, which is terrible, I guess, for like to be a big fan. I've never actually been like, if I was in One Piece, like this would be my plan. So I don't know. If I was in One Piece, I would, I'm pretty sure I would be a pirate. I know I don't seem that adventurous now, but when I was younger, I was, and I do enjoy traveling. Um, and I think if you are already from that world, you're probably used to the dangers anyway. So there's that. But I am kind of a pussy. Sorry, guys. Who would you be affiliated with? Hmm. I would like to be affiliated with the Straw Hats. Um, I don't think that I would fit in with another crew. I don't know. That's a hard one. I'm definitely not strong enough to be affiliated with Kid. um, I don't know. I would probably be affiliated with the Straw Hats. I would probably, to be completely honest, now that I'm thinking about it, I would probably be rolling with Bartolomeo because I would probably be a big stupid fangirl just like him and contributing to his shrine of the Straw Hats. So I guess that's probably where I would be. Oh my god, I'm such a dork. Yeah, that's I would be so I'd be a pirate and I'd be affiliated with Bartolomeo and the part of the Straw Hat Fleet, I think. Yeah. Now I want to know what you would be. So y'all should tell me who you would be. Would you be a pirate? Would you be a marine? Would you just be a civilian? And if so, who would you be affiliated with? Who would you roll with? If you roll with anyone at all, or would you be a loner or have your own crew? So that's a good question. Thanks, C. We don't have very many questions this week, so just a couple more left here. The next one is from Danny Laurel, also on Wattpad. Said, what's the first book that made you cry? So I have a thing about crying. I'm not that big of a crier, I guess you could say. So I have not read an original work that has made me cry, as in not fan fiction. I had never cried watching a TV show or a movie. My friends tried to no avail to make me cry up into my, mid to late 20s. To get me, they would make me watch all kinds of sad shit. Like you guys don't even know. To see if I would cry, and they would all be bawling during a movie and I'd just be sitting there like some heartless prick. And it's not that I don't have feelings or I didn't think it was sad. I just am aware of the fact that it's not real, I guess. And that would be until my husband and I started dating, and he got me into One Piece because it was a requirement. And so I was binge watching One Piece while working a full-time job. And I was watching it on my laptop, and it was like 2 a.m, and I had my blanket wrapped around me, and it was the episode where they burned the Going Merry, and I cried like a fucking baby. And surprised myself because I've never done that before. So that made me cry. And then in Naruto, when he kind of unlocks the memory of his mom and she talks to him and they hug and he tells her that he's been waiting to do that his whole life, that got me good. So And there's other anime since that have made me cry. Like, what's the name of that anime? Anohana, the flower we saw that day. If you guys have not seen that, one, it's really, really, really well animated. And the story is just really good. So fucking sad though. So I definitely cried at the end of that. As far as books go, I've never read a book and cried until I did a competition. I think it wasn't last May, but the May before. I did a contest on Wattpad, and Abyss Chronica wrote her one shot, and I cried like a baby. and and then I reread it and cried again. So that was the first book, I guess, or the first thing I cried while reading. I guess you could say. I hope that answered that correctly, but so not really technically a book, it was a one shot, but she definitely made me cry. So, and I think she was pretty proud of herself actually for it. So she never feels bad when she makes us cry, you guys. I just want you to know that. It's her goal and she's very good at it. All right. And then so thanks for that question. The last question is from Amethyst Orachan, also on Wattpad. Asked, what are your tips for writing one shots? That's a great question, actually. Writing a one shot is pretty different from writing a full story. And my approach to writing a one shot has to be pretty much the complete opposite of what it would be when I'm writing a full story, or a full book, I guess. Because like I've said before, I don't plan out things. I kind of know what I want my ending point to be, and then everything up into that is just me on the fly. For a one shot, you really need to plan out what you're going to do because you only have so much time to do it in. I mean, you can use as many words as you want, but if you if you go more than, a couple thousand words, you might as well just make it a book, I think. But so when I come up with one shots, it's usually like I've said before, just to get something out of my system, or for a contest that someone's doing. Though I don't participate in contests very often. So you really have to come up with a beginning, middle, and end that you're going to stick with. It needs to be something interesting because even though it's a short, tiny narrative, it still needs to bring you in and get you involved. And a lot of times what I like is to bring you in, get you involved, end it, and then have you wanting more, and you're not going to get it. Sorry. I'm so mean. Excuse me. So yeah, so having a plan for your plot, is pretty essential. I don't know. You want to be as descriptive as you can, but you also don't want to make it too long because then it takes away from your story, if that makes any sense. And I feel like that was probably a confusing thing to say. But you have to find a way to be descriptive but also be brief. Which I guess seems a little counterintuitive, but I don't know. I mean, I've read your one shots and I think they're great. So I think you've done a great job with them. If you're not used to doing one shots, a good way to get into doing them is doing song fics, because you just stick to that one song. So you can what I like to do is, if I'm vibing on a particular song, I'll listen to it over and over and over again, which I normally do anyway. If I really like a song, I'm one of those annoying people who listens to it until no one can stand being around me. Anyway, so you listen to the song, get a feel for the story that the writer and the singer were telling, and then make your book or make your one shot off of that. And it's a good way to do a one shot because you only have that one song. that you have to work with. So, man, I hope that helps. I feel like that was a really shitty answer that I gave you. I'm sorry. It was a really good question. But yeah, so planning it out, being brief, and probably doing a sonfic if you're not used to doing them. Or if you're not used to doing one shots, I should say. If you want to get into them, opening the door to one shots would be sonfics. God, yeah. Sorry, you guys. I'm a bit off this week. I'm on Benadryl right now, so excuse me. So I hope that helped a little bit. Yeah, so it was a great question. You guys had great questions this week. Hit me up on any social platform that I've listed on here. If you have any more questions, it doesn't have to be writer related. It doesn't have to be One Piece specific. Really, it can be anything, as long as it's not gross. I don't mind answering your questions. So we have a couple of topics this week. The first one that I'm gonna kind of go on is character traits or quirks that characters have that are overdone. And I don't know, that it might sound a little bit silly because in animes they're already extreme or exaggerated. But I feel like a lot of people take them into fan fiction and go crazy, and there's no reason to do that. And this might just be something that bothers me, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So there's a few characters, One Piece specific, obviously that's kind of what I'm the most into, so it's going to be what I talk about the most, and I'm sorry about that. Sorry, my mouth is dry. So there are some characters that have some interesting character traits that I feel like people get a little carried away with when writing fan fictions. So the first one that bothers me the most is the characters that I could think of when I was coming up with this were specifically Law, Sanji, Corazon, and Zoro. And maybe not so much Corazon, but sometimes. And there's not a whole lot of books about him, but when he is in one, it's usually his clumsiness is a big factor in it, which I understand. So, but firstly, Law. So he has two kind of quirky things that he does, which is when he speaks about someone, he adds, or when he says someone's name, he adds "ya" to the end of their name, which is fine. I actually really like that. I think it's cute. It's kind of how Marco ends a lot of his sentences with Yoi. A lot of One Piece characters have like little quirky things that they do. Blackbeard's laugh, things like that. Well, everybody kind of has their own weird signature laugh in One Piece, I think. Or there are lots of characters who have a signature laugh, I should say. But Law's big one that bothers me really is his aversion to bread. I get it. We all know he doesn't like bread, okay? And I will mention it in a book, but mentioning it is about as far as I go with it. I know that I've read a lot of books or have stopped reading books before because they've kind of focused too much on it or had a major plot point revolve around him not liking bread, and it gets too silly for me, and I just can't take the book seriously or read it, even if it's not meant to be serious. And it's not that I can't handle things that are funny, but like, okay, we get it. He doesn't like bread. So I'll have a reader tease, like, I think in Closer, he said he was fine with whatever she was going to make for dinner. And she said, "Oh, so sandwiches then?" And that was it. So, there's things like that. But I think people make a bigger deal out of his aversion to bread than it needs to be. It's only mentioned in the anime like twice. So calm down, you guys. I think it's too much. Also, I think a lot of people don't understand that bread and like cake are not the same thing. It's made out of the same thing, but texturally it's not the same thing. So he probably doesn't feel the same way about cake as he does bread. I'm just gonna leave that there. I am married to a pastry chef, but there's that. Um, Anyway, other stuff would be Zoro being directionally challenged, which happens to be one of my favorite things about him because he never takes responsibility for it. And I think that's hilarious. But in fan fiction, it gets a little bit ridiculous, especially if it's an AU, because there's so many things in modern society that would keep him from getting lost that I feel like it's not quite believable that he would get lost all the time. So in the one, he's an Uber driver. When you're an Uber driver, if none of you have done it before, it does give you GPS directions to where you're going to pick a person up, and then when you pick them up to their destination. So he's not going to get lost because it's literally showing him where to go and telling him where to go. Um, I don't believe he's stupid enough to go the opposite way when it's right in front of him. I like in the anime when they tell him to go left and he goes right, that makes sense because they're telling him, but if he's looking at a map, come on. Um, that being said, I do believe that once he gets inside a building, however, all bets are off. Of course, he'll get lost and turned around and whatever, because he doesn't have a way of, navigating through an apartment building or a hospital in the case of the one. So there's that. But I think it gets a little overdone in fan fictions. Sanji's girl craziness. However, in One Piece, it is like really over the top ridiculous how he reacts to women. And I think my problem with that is people confuse that with womanizing and make it seem, sorry, I lost my train of thought. In a fan fiction, make it seem like he would be some kind of whore. So they kind of slut Sanji up when I don't think that that's how he would be. I think he appreciates women and he is a bit woman crazy, but I don't think that means he'll abuse those relationships, if that makes any sense. I think that he was taught to respect women, and he would respect you. I don't think that he would be sleeping around all over the place. And you can be in a relationship and think another person is attractive and appreciate the way they look without, cheating and sleeping with people. So, but that's goes into adult relationships that maybe not everybody's experienced. So, those are some things that I think are a bit overdone. As far as Koro-san goes, I mean, he is clumsy. If you're writing an AU, if he sets himself on fire, he's gonna die. So I don't know why people do that. I have seen modern AUs where people have had him do that when he's lighting a cigarette, and I'm just like, okay, it's not you've taken me into a world that's not a cartoon, and you're doing cartoon things. So I don't know. I feel like there should be some realisticness that you keep with it. I definitely have introduced him into stories where he's tripping over things and stuff like that, which is normal. I mean, I'm fucking clumsy and, I've fallen down the stairs from my office 3 times. And I literally go there every day. So I understand clumsiness. But, I think there's a limit to realisticness, I guess, in that. So, those are just a few that bother me. I think when you're doing an AU, you can tone it down. It doesn't have to be as flamboyant as it would have been in the anime. It's not really necessary, and in some cases, it's distracting and takes away from the story. So, I don't know. Maybe keep that in mind when you're writing these characters. And and seeing how they would react in our world, not so much as the One Piece world. So, my next topic was going to be, or is going to be, comments on books and one-shots. I've just noticed a lot lately. We kind of in the first episode talked about commenting etiquette, and I realized that I didn't really cover demanding comments. I think we've talked about rude comments, and we've talked about, people having arguments in your comment section and kind of how ways you can handle that. But there are some things that readers just don't pay attention sometimes to authors' announcements and things like that. So I just wanted to address some of those. First of all, when you comment in a book that's ongoing and you've reached a point where you've binge read it. So there's 14 chapters. You sat there all day and all evening or however long it takes you to read and read all of them. And then you get to the last chapter. You've not voted on anything. You've not commented on anything up until this point. You get to the last chapter and you comment and just say, "Update, please." That is the most infuriating thing in the world. And we have to ignore that because there's not really... there are nice ways to comment back. I mean, I definitely have said thanks for appreciating my book in the past, and there'll be an update at some point. But I don't keep to a schedule because I can't. And having people beg me for, or in that case is more of a demand for an update, is just really frustrating. And then it's easy for people to say, "Oh, well, you could just ignore it." But I have 24 books. So, it's not just one comment a day. I get quite a few of them, and I'm sure other authors do too. I know that there's another popular author who literally writes at the end of every chapter that she posts that, "Don't leave me comments like this." And at least 3 or 4 people leave her comments begging for an update after she just posted. So, come on, you guys. Get it together. Also, reading author announcements or author notes. Sometimes they're in there for a reason, so read them. If I've had people comment on something where I left an author's note that something wouldn't be updated in a while, and they've begged me for an update. I'm like, "Hello, I just said." Also, the beginning of a book, there's a reason why it asks us for a summary at the top so you can see kind of what the book is about. And sometimes you don't read those and then you ask all kinds of dumb questions during the story that are answered in that one paragraph in the beginning. So all I'm asking is that you pay attention, read those, and then you can avoid having an author get upset with you. Because it's upsetting for me when people read closure and then ask me what's going on with the world government thing. Why is it a mandate that people have to get married and stuff? It's explained in another one shot that I've asked you to read before you read this book. So do it, please. It will help it make sense to you. And it also makes Marco's existence in that book make sense. So even though it's not necessarily imperative that you read it, it doesn't help it make sense, and it keeps you from asking me questions that I don't want to answer because they've already been answered somewhere else. So be mindful of that. But yeah, demanding updates, especially when we've just posted a chapter. I mean, it's super annoying, you guys. Don't do it, please. Don't ask when we're going to update something. We're not getting paid to do this. This is not a full-time job for us. And, I'm 34. I have other things going on. So I'm not always able to post an update and kind of feed into that your need for another chapter, which don't get me wrong, I would love to. And if I could write fast enough, I totally would. And if I was inspired to complete everything that I've started, I would have that done as well. So it's not that I don't want to do that for you, but I'm also, I'm not a magician. I can't do it on command. So asking me to update is not really going to get any of us anywhere. But and it's not very polite. So, there's that. We don't go to your profile and ask you to come comment and vote. So don't come to ours and ask us to update. Maybe that was a little rude, but that's kind of how I feel about it. It's kind of a frustrating thing to see. And if you start writing and your book starts getting attention, you'll see what I mean. It's hard to feel inspired and come up with an update when you have people demanding it of you. If that makes any sense to you guys. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave it on the commenting thing. We'll move into the next stuff. So sorry, that got a little too serious. That's one of my pet peeves and it drives me nuts. So I just wanted to address it. Cause I've had it happen a lot in the last couple of weeks and I've noticed not just with me, but some of my other author friends have had that issue as well. So come on, just be nice, you guys. So anyway, moving on, last week we had, Fuck, Marry, Kill. It was between Nami, Robin, and Perona. You guys were interesting. So most everybody married either Nami or Robin. Actually a lot of people killed off Nami. And then Perona just got used. So I feel bad for her for that. This week's FMK is the Red-Haired Pirates edition. So your choices are Ben Beckman, Yassip, and Shanks. I have a feeling I know where this one's gonna go. So you guys comment and let me know who you would fuck, marry, or kill. I think y'all might know my choices already, but I'm gonna kill Yassip, fuck Shanks, and marry Ben. And maybe you thought I was gonna marry Shanks, but no. He was a terrible boyfriend. Anyway, so that's this week's fuck, marry, kill. And then this week I had you guys vote for One's Gotta Go. And the group that I assigned you this week was the Shishibukai. The 4 that got the most votes, actually the person who got the most votes was Mihawk. I had to tell you guys to stop voting for Mihawk. So the 4 votes that we got were Mihawk, Doflamingo, Bo Hancock, and Sir Crocodile. And so we have to go over who we're going to keep of those 4. I think the first one that I'm going to kick off would be Dofi. I don't like him. Well, I do, but I don't. So he's the first one out. I don't really want anything to do with him. He's a horrible human being. He's a great villain, terrible person. I don't want him. The next out, I think, would be Boa Hancock. I'm not a huge fan of her, actually. I actually kind of find her a little bit creepy. With her infatuation with Luffy bothers me a little bit. But regardless, I don't really want anything to do with her either. So she's the next to go. And then my last 2 left are Mihawk and Crocodile. And that is a difficult decision. I actually really like Crocodile. I have 0 reasons for really liking Crocodile. I love his aesthetic. His voice is really cool. I don't know why I like him so much. I can't explain it. But I also really love Mihawk as well. Oh, I think the next one to go... I think it would be Crocodile. So I think I'll keep Mihawk. I feel like I really like Mihawk's attitude. Excuse me. Um, he's so badass without being cocky or acting like he's badass, I guess. He's just very calm. He's very calm and cool and collected, and I like that about him. So, yeah. So Doflamingo's out, then Boa Hancock, then Crocodile, and I'm gonna keep Mihawk. Um, so that's that for the Shishibukai One's Gotta Go. I'll post the next week's One's Gotta Go for you guys on Wattpad. And then y'all can tell me, y'all can narrow it down to 4 people for me. So whoever gets the 4 that get the most votes will be included in the One's Gotta Go. And then I think for the week after that, we'll probably change it up and do it how we did the first week, where I have you guys vote between 4 people of my choosing. So we'll kind of go back and forth with that. All right. And then last week's Would You Rather was, would you rather have a devil fruit that turned you into a mouse, or would you have a devil fruit that amplified your voice to like murderous levels? And but you would never be able to speak proper, or not proper, but normally again. So you can't laugh, you can't sing, you can't even whisper at a normal volume ever again. Or you can be a mouse. And the majority of you picked being a mouse. So I get it. I would probably pick having my voice amplified though, because I just really think that's a cool power to have. But I get being a mouse. So this week's One's Gotta Go, or not One's Gotta Go, Would You Rather will be kind of based on pirate crews. So this week's Would You Rather would be, would you rather be a weak member of the Straw Hat Pirates? So like you're shy, you're weak, you contribute nothing. You have to be saved all the time. I don't even know why you're there. You don't even know why you're there. You're completely useless, but you're a Straw Hat Pirate. So you know, you're on one of the most wanted crews. You have a decent bounty just because you're on the crew. Or you're the strongest member of the Foxy Pirates. So, I think, I don't know. That's a difficult one. I think I don't want to be on the Foxy Pirates, but I don't want to be a weak baby either. Maybe being the strongest member of the Foxy Pirates. Maybe you could be stronger than Foxy and take over the pirate crew and make them your own. So that's this week's Would You Rather. You guys let me know in the comments which you would rather be. So would you rather be a shy, weak, useless member of the Straw Hat crew or the strongest member of the Foxy Pirates? Let me know below. So that's going to be it for this week, you guys. We're going to wrap it up. As usual, you can find me on Wattpad. Lindsay H on Wattpad. That's LYNDSYH. Lindsay24 on DeviantArt. On Instagram, I am Art by Lindsay. And on Twitter, I am at the Lady Bun Bun. Or you can also comment here below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment as well. If you guys have any great ideas for One's Gotta Go or Would You Rather, let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Wattpad, DM me, whatever. Let me know what you guys think. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.